Hello, my name is Jenna Groko, and I'm your host on today's podcast. Today we will be discussing a new film directed by Bo Burnham that has been just released titled 8th Grade. This film is rated R, but will make you laugh and think back to when you were in 8th grade. We have two guests today. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Kyra Besky.
And I'm Hailey Torberg.
To begin our discussion today, do you guys remember your 8th grade experience?
My 8th grade experience was kind of like Kayla's in the movie because I was very awkward just like her, but also a little different because I was very crazy and outgoing a little more than she was. And then other than that, I used to make little videos and kind of like YouTube videos that I wanted to post on YouTube. But so I was kind of like her with making the videos and trying to put herself out there.
Yeah, I was also awkward like Kayla, and I also remember 8th grade was the time that I really got into video editing, and so I can relate to her making her little YouTube videos. I used to make like little music videos in my basement, hence why I'm a mass communications major now. It kind of like initiated that passion.
I would have to agree with what both of you guys are kind of saying. I was also pretty shy and awkward and just very self-conscious, and I can see a lot of the similar traits that she projects in the movie that I was internalizing. And I also, similar to Jenna, my dad, he always was constantly recording us with his home video cameras, so he was constantly having us put on skits. And eventually I started taking the camera from him and recording my own things, and that really was, I started doing that more when I was in middle school, around the same time she was.
I can tell that we've all connected to this film in similar and different ways. Since this is a new release, Kyra, can you tell us a little bit about the background information on the film?
Yeah, I'd love to. The director of this film is Bo Burnham, which he's pretty popular now because he's known for his stand-up comedy, but he started out on YouTube in about 2006, and his videos have been viewed millions of times by so many people, but he actually isn't active on his YouTube anymore, so the main places you can find him is the popular streaming services such as Netflix, or you can even just listen to him on Spotify and stuff like that. But this is his first feature film. He wrote and directed it himself, so he's really proud of it, and he's taken to all his social media about it. And the star of the film is Elsie Fisher. She was actually the age of an 8th grader at the time they filmed this. She had just finished her 8th grade, so that was a realistic element to it compared to how in many films you get like 20 or 30-year-olds who are playing 8th graders. And in an interview, I remember hearing that Bo Burnham picked her because a lot of the people they were auditioning for the part were outgoing children trying to act like they were shy and quiet, but Kayla was just perfect for the part because she was actually very shy, pretending to be outgoing, which you kind of see in her throughout the film, in her character. And Elsie Fisher, this is her first starring role, but she was also the character of Agnes in Despicable Me, so she had a voice acting role that she's known for before this. This film also used some really interesting techniques that make it really fun to watch and enjoyable for audiences.
Yeah, going off of that, when it comes to the film's sound, lighting, and cinematography, it really adds to the film. One of the biggest features is the sound that is tied to Kayla's emotions. As she's going through her 8th grade experience, she has a lot of anxiety, her liking towards boys, and her angstiness towards her father. There's a scene with a boy that she likes and his beautiful eyes, and the music is very intense, showcasing her liking towards this boy. There's also diegetic sound when it comes to her headphones. As she's listening to music with her headphones on, she takes it off and the music suddenly dies down as she can't hear it as well as with both headphones on. And there's also a pool scene that she has anxiety being surrounded by a lot of students that she's not very close to, that just intensifies the scene as a whole. This movie also focuses on the lighting with the technology. Every time someone's holding a laptop or a phone, the screen lights up their face, and that occurs as a thematic quality throughout the whole film. And there's a lot of focus on the YouTube videos, as when they are showcased, they're not in HD like the rest of the film, and they're also used as a voiceover as Kayla is going through her 8th grade experience. With these techniques in mind, are there any meanings, influences, or impacts that you could talk about, Hailey, behind 8th grade?
Yes, so going off of that, I think the most prominent meanings and influence would probably be the awareness of bullying and harassment in this. There are a lot of scenes throughout the film where we see this, but I would say specifically where Kayla is confronting her kind of bully at this point. Her name is Kennedy. She wants to be her friend and she's trying to get to know her, but she is completely ignored by her because Kennedy sits on her phone the whole time. And then once again, she's with Kennedy, and Kennedy is with her mom, and her mom makes her invite Kayla to her birthday party, which she is clearly not thrilled about in this scene. And then when she actually gets to the party, Kennedy is once again very rude to her, and she's ungrateful when she receives Kayla's gift. And then apart from the bullying, there is a scene where we see Kayla being harassed, and this is when she is being brought home from the mall with the high school boy, and he moves to the back seat and tries to get her to take her shirt off, but she refuses, and then she later apologizes for this because she thinks it's her fault. And then this kind of brings me to the impact of the film. So during this harassment scene, the crowd during the film series was very vocal, and a lot of people were like saying no, and they were sighing with disgust when he moved to the back seat because the audience recognized like what was going on during the scene. I would say overall the entire film impacted the audience though, because of how relatable it was. So not necessarily this specific scene. So other than the bullying and the harassment, there were many awkward encounters when she would meet people and try to talk to them and get to know them, especially with the one boy that she has a crush on. And then other than that, like the experimenting and the pressure of putting yourself out there, she was always trying to address that in her YouTube videos to try to make herself seem confident and everything. So there are a lot of social things that are thrown at students in junior high, and many of us have dealt with these social pressures at one point in our lives. So that's what makes this film so relatable to anyone that has been in junior high.
Thank you, Kyra and Hailey, for joining me today to discuss 8th grade. Do you have any last words regarding the film?
Yeah, I would highly recommend going and see this movie, especially 8th graders. Even though it has an R rating, parents should go and take their 8th graders to go see it. The people who made this movie, specifically Bo Burnham, was really upset about this rating, and he even made free screenings across the country for 8th graders on specific dates for them to go see it. And if you're a parent and you're worried about that it has an R rating, you can go and look up and see what specifically the scenes and parts of the film that you may be wary of or might want to just avoid, or I don't know, use your best preventative methods to keep your 8th grader from seeing them if you're concerned about them. But overall, the whole film is worth it to go see and valuable, especially for 8th graders.
I agree with Kyra. This film is very relatable and realistic just because of all of the characters that are in the film. And even though it is rated R, it's definitely worth it for 8th graders and any person to see.
We have enjoyed talking about Bo Burnham's 8th grade today. We have connected it to all of our lives. I have been your host, Jenna Groko. Thank you for listening today, and go watch Bo Burnham's 8th grade.
Gucci!